Good morning once again. Thank you for a good class. A review of what is due this weekend. Number one, the Memorial Project. This PowerPoint has been posted online, so if you want to review, everything you need is in here. Everything regarding the Memorial Project. So I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about number two, the DBQ worksheet and Google Classroom assignment. So the worksheet is just finishing what we started in class, which would be this. So we did number 1 and 2 together. You need to do number 3 and 4. Once you're done with that, you will be done with that, and you can move on to the second part, the Google Classroom assignment. So remember, these are your partners. I do want you to find time to work together on this, so please make that happen. Here are your directions. Google Classroom assignment. Pull up the DBQ review documents. Okay, I'm going to do that now. Classroom. I'll change the due date. Don't worry about that. Pull up the document. And this is what you need to work through. Breaking down the DBQ by the rubric. Here's your question again. Some of this is review. What are your 3 main topics? You already have them. Everybody has 3 main topics. Great Schism, Black Plague, whatever it was. And then for each topic, you want to make sure, you and your partner, that you're making a claim. Okay? Is this an effect and is it arguable? You can just put, as long as you're sure that your claim is a claim and it's arguable, you can put yes for each one. That's fine. So you write your claims 1, 2, 3. If your partner received the point for the thesis, according to the rubric, you may use those claims, but you and your partner need to talk about them first, and then you can add them. So you may improve upon them as well if you want, but if you got the point, you can use it. So let's take a break right here after the thesis, and let's actually look at the rubric and how this is scored. So you have the rubric, because what I've done here is I've created this outline to get you a point for each section. So essentially, the thesis is a point, document analysis 1, 2, and 3 are a point, outside information is a point, contextualization is a point, and synthesis, for a total of 7 points. But let's look at how that correlates to the rubric. So pull up your rubric. First thing, thesis, we already talked about it. You get the point or not. A number of you got it. Remember, you can get it in the conclusion paragraph, so a number of people did that. Analysis of historical evidence in support of argument. For this point here, you need to bring in outside information. Essay offers plausible analysis of information not contained in the documents. So you got to think of an event during this time period. For instance, the 100 Years' War, the Jacquerie, the Peasants' Revolt in France, the Jacquerie, and then you add that to your argument. So that's what you're going to do for that section when you get there. But before you get there, I want you to set up your analysis of your documents. So each document needs to be explained and analyzed. I put a check there if you did that, and an X if you didn't. And then you need to hit on one of these. You don't have to hit on all of them, but you have to describe intended audience, purpose, historical context, and author's point of view. And remember, this is analysis of documents, not of history. So you need to analyze the document in these contexts. So for instance, the author's point of view of document 1 would be, what bias does Catherine of Siena potentially have, right? Document 2, I would have to refresh myself and look at document 2. I believe it's the one about the English Peasants' Revolt. So if you wrote about the purpose, maybe you talk about this document was an anonymous author, but they're very wealthy. Authors back then were very wealthy. upper class, worked for the king, so that has a lot to do with his purpose. But somewhere you need to include that. So let's stop, look at these two, and then we'll come back to the rubric. So here, document analysis number 1, it says, in blank, by blank, he, she argues, notes, contends, describes. I want you to take these out and actually fill them in. So in blank, by blank, so it would be in a letter by Catherine of Siena, she argues, and then you insert your quote that you will use from her actual document, right? I'll give you an example. In the letter by Catherine of Siena, she argues, and don't worry about my spelling errors, make sure you don't have spelling errors. And then you'd insert quote, and then make sure at the end you put doc 1. And then once you have that, you could go ahead and erase this, right? And then you'd be good. Okay? If, let's say for instance, you didn't use this tactic. You used a summary of the document, which is another strategy. And then at the end of your summary, you put document 1. You can do that, but if you do that, would you please write in what you did for your summary of the document, take this out, and what I'll see is your couple sentence summary, document 1, and then you'd be good. Okay? Alright, and then which document analysis will be used? Which one of these will be used? If you use intended audience,
sorry for the interruption. Can I see all freshmen?
Underline and bold it. And then you need to record your document analysis here. So that would be describing the intended audience. So Catherine of Siena's letter was written to Pope Gregory. And then you'd have to go on and analyze how does that impact the document, right? So that would be intended audience for that one. So you're going to do that for all 3 documents. Analysis number 2, same thing. Analysis number 3, same thing. And then outside information. So this is that 4th point that we were talking about in your rubric. Outside information. What can you bring in here, historically speaking, to earn this point? Write out the sentence here. It says, maybe you decide to talk about the 100 Years' War and analyze it within the context of the Peasants' Revolt, so it comes in your 3rd paragraph. Then you're done with that section. So make sure you write out the whole analysis and then include what paragraph you're going to put it in. Alright, so that's the documents. The other 2 points are additional things you need to do in your DBQ to earn your 6th and 7th point. So let's look back at the rubric. So we're down at the bottom, contextualization. What this means is that you present your knowledge of the historical themes of the time period. So you're connecting other historical themes, not necessarily events, into broader themes of history. So let's go look at the document. It says, which broader themes of history could you use to place the major events discussed in this essay into a larger historical context? Relate this era to eras of the past through events, ideas, and then analyze. So you could relate it to the Renaissance, how ideas of the Middle Ages begin to lead to Renaissance ideas. I'm not going to give you that one. You're going to have to make connections yourself. So think about it. But that's one example. Maybe you talk about how it led to the Reformation. But you're connecting, say, for instance, the discontent of the people with the church to what happens in the Reformation. And then it says, in which paragraph could you most easily include this in your essay? You want to look at your essay and say, okay, I'm going to include this in paragraph 4. And last but not least, synthesis. List 1 or 2 documents or primary sources not included in the DBQ that you could use in your essay. And then you need to analyze. So let's say you decide to include something related to the Black Plague that we read. I know a lot of you wanted to use the Dance of Death. You can't just say the Dance of Death relates to the Black Plague. You need to analyze how did it relate to the Black Plague and your argument. So that's one option. I know a lot of people used Unum Sanctum. You could use that and relate it, but again, you got to analyze it. All right, and that's it. So if you do those 7 things, you're guaranteed, not guaranteed, but you are going to, if you did them right and did them well, receive 7 points. I'm going to say this. Do your best to work with your partner. If you cannot, for some reason, although we have class Monday, or we don't have class Monday, so you should be able to see them and work together on this. The reason I want you to work together is because you all have good ideas, and you can actually just adopt them, right? So if you didn't get credit for document analysis 1 and your partner did, talk about what she did, and then use it right here. That's fine. I just want you to see what it would look like from start to finish to get all 7 points. And some of you have points on certain things that your partner didn't get, so talk about them and then you can include them. That's why I want you to work together. So I should see for your DBQ breakdown here the same answers, which is what I want. Alright, if you have any questions, email me, no problem. I'm looking forward to your memorial projects, and I leave you with a memorial song. Alright, looking forward to your memorial projects. Have a good weekend.